everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we are discussing what I read in March. It is officially April 1st, so our recap for March begins. In March, I read 6 books, 1 nonfiction, 1 romance, 2 general fiction, and 2 fantasy. My nonfiction book for this month was Period Power by Maisie, Hval. This book was by far the most educational thing I have ever read, period. Why is the health and education system lacking so much that this book, which I read over the span of 1 month, has taught me more than 11 years of having a period has ever taught me before. That's absolutely crazy to me. This book talks all about the different hormone cycles. It talks about foods to eat to help balance out your hormones if you feel like you have either high estrogen, low progesterone, that kind of stuff. It also discusses things if you get these ads, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. When it's the Flow app ad and it's what color is my discharge? This talks about it. You don't have to download an app for it. This book talks all about it in explicit detail, and it's not some if it's an egg white, whatever. No. This, so much better. You actually want to learn about that kind of stuff? Read this book. Read this book, baddie. If you have a uterus and you get periods, or you're trying to get pregnant, or you're either getting your first period, or it also talks about premenopause a lot, and the stages of menopause. But Maisie Hval does have another book specifically just on menopause, so she kind of just briefly discusses it. This is more about people who are actively getting periods. But overall, this is absolutely beautiful and amazing, and I can't believe that this isn't something that's taught to everybody, all the stuff that's in here. It just talks about so much stuff that I don't even know how to talk about it myself, because it's amazing, and I definitely will be rereading this in the next couple of months to a year, because I don't even think I grasped half of what was in here. That's how much stuff I feel I've learned just from this one book. So please, if you want to learn more about your own hormone cycles and you want to learn more about what it is to be a woman, this book is for you. We then have the one romance book I read this month, which was Lights Out. This is a comedic dark romance, and that's all I have to say on it. It was absolutely nothing special. However, it did get me through a bit of a rough week. I was on my period when I read this. I was not having a good time emotionally, but this book made it all better, because I was laughing, giggling, kicking my feet at some of the stuff that was said. Yeah, there's a bit of murder and light stalking and some knife play, but who doesn't want to read about that? Other than, people that enjoy light fluffy romances mainly. This was really good. If you want an introduction to dark romance, but you want something that's kind of funny and not taking it seriously at all, Lights Out by Navessa is for you. We then have the 2 general fiction books that I read. And again, general fiction for me is anything that's not fantasy or romance, because that is mainly what I read. So the first one I read was Kill the Possum by James Moloney. This book had me crying so hard. It is a crime thriller novel, and it's about this young kid who becomes friends / kind of dates this girl in his class, and then how he learns about them. It's all about domestic violence. The entire thing is based around domestic violence. So if you can't handle reading that, which I totally understand, this book is not for you. However, if you can handle a bit of domestic violence and you want a crime thriller novel, a crime novel that will absolutely destroy you and your belief in the universe, this book's for you. It was really good. I love the way it's written. It's third person, the entire thing, but it's really well done. Yeah, this one definitely would recommend if you're looking for something to make you cry. It is March 4th. I've just finished
kill the possum. I don't even know if the dude who wrote this is still alive. He was born in 1952, so he's like 70-something years old. I don't even have any words. I was so looking forward to them having a happy ending. And it's almost like that will never happen for these people. That makes me really, really sad. James, we need to have a word. You and me personally need to have a word. What was this? And why would you do that to me?
The next one is Paradise Rot by Jenny Hval. This was so strange. I have almost no thoughts about it. It's apparently, according to the description, like the description is in here, it's about being an international student and being queer and figuring out everything in that space. I did get that part of it. However, to me, this was more just like a book of really good imagery, and it like just fucks with your mind. I think it was really powerful. And it's a short novella. It's 148 pages. Jenny Hval is a German musician. This is definitely a really good book, and I would recommend reading it. However, go into it with like little to no thoughts, because I went into it with nothing and I came out of it with almost nothing as well. The imagery is beautiful in this, so if you're like a writer who's learning how to write imagery in like really weird ways that like gets the reader's brain thinking a lot, this was done so beautifully, just like that. We then have the two fantasy books I read this month. The first one was The Iron Flower by Laurie Forrest. She's thick, but she is absolutely worth it. This is the second book in the Black Witch Chronicles, and again, I love the first one, and I absolutely love the second one. I ate it up. I think I read the whole thing in like a week and a half. It's amazing. I love it. A very powerful fantasy series about sexism and racism within a society, and how far it can go. And as we're seeing what's happening in America right now, I 100% believe that this whole thing is like, it was written, I think the first one was written in 2012. Yeah, I'm just astounded that Laurie knew what was happening and what was going to happen in the future. How did you read the future and then put it into a fantasy setting? This is crazy, and I love it. The only issue I had with the first two is that you only ever get one POV. Everything is from Elloren's point of view, which isn't a bad thing, but I read a lot of series where you get multiple POVs, and I really love that type of writing. So to go from that to this was just very different. But it's amazing. A really, really, really good like YA fantasy trilogy. I couldn't recommend it more. If you want to know more about Black Witch, the first one, that's in my last reading cap. We then have Gods and Monsters by Shelby Mahurin. This is the third and final book in the Serpent and Dove trilogy. To be honest, I was really sad when I finished this. The ending was absolutely beautiful, and everything I'd hoped for the ending for this. I could not imagine it being any sadder. Like, why are we destroying me like this? I loved everything about this trilogy. It was just really, really good YA fantasy trilogy. However, I would stress that it's got in the whole trilogy, it's got 3 scenes in it. 2 of them are in this one, and 1 of them is in the first book. If you don't want to read any smut at all, or anything that resembles smut, maybe this trilogy isn't for you. However, out of like 1,900 pages, there's 3 scenes, and in total it's like 20 pages. You can so easily skip them. Like, they usually go for like 5 pages max, and that's it. The first one was quite important to the plot because that's how the characters like found each other in a way, but the next 2, not necessarily super important to the plot, so you can absolutely skip them. But yeah, this trilogy broke me into a million pieces. I'm gonna miss this one, and I'm gonna think about this for a while to come, I think. This was everything I read in March. My goal was 3 and I read 6, so I'm very, very happy about that. I don't know how, to be honest. I read so much whilst also being in the middle of semester, but I did it, and I couldn't be happier because this was an amazing month for me.